So the plan was to go on a run today. I don't think that's gonna happen. Did you just do it all on your own? Good job! Careful. Good job! You did that all, you got up all on your own. Good job! I have an alternate plan for staying active today on a hail and rainy day like today. That was an exhausting workout, but I'm glad I got it in. What is most important to you? What is most valuable to you? Is it food? Family? Entertainment? Rain? Now the reason why I shared those things specifically with you is because those were the things that I filmed today for the vlog. That's the only reason why I mentioned those things. It would be weird to have rain be the most valuable thing to you. I did a tiny bit of research and was curious as to what are some of the most valuable materials in the universe. Coming in at number 1 is antimatter. And the cost per gram is $62.5 to $100 trillion per gram. So I don't know how real antimatter is. I was talking to my wife earlier today. I think it's more of a ethereal type thing, but according to a few websites, that is the most valuable material available to us. Coming in at number 2 is edonhedral Fullernes? I'm probably butchering that. But the CPG is approximately $160 million. So again, I don't know how real that is, but oh well. Okay. Coming in at number 3 is Californium. And its CPG is approximately $10 to $27 million. Okay, then coming in is number 4 is diamonds. We're mostly familiar with that. And its CPG is anywhere between 55 grand and 108 grand. And coming in at 5th is tritium, and tritium's CPG is approximately 30,000 pounds. Not like, LBS pounds, but like the currency pounds for you know what I mean. So all this ties with our text for today, and today is day 143 in the vlog, and we're looking at 1 Kings chapter 3 and 4, 2 Chronicles chapter 1, and Psalm 72. What's happening in these chapters is a significant part in Israel's history. This is when King Solomon, he goes before God, and as he's worshiping the Lord comes to him in a dream. And in this dream is when the Lord tells him, ask whatever it is you want and I will give it to you. This is where we see Solomon asking for understanding, in particular because he's so young, and understanding into how to rule the nation of Israel, but also to be able to discern and distinguish between what is right and wrong. And we find it in 1 Kings, but really in 2 Chronicles chapter 1's account that the Lord is very pleased with this request by Solomon, noting that Solomon didn't ask for riches or for prominence or any of those sort of things, but through him asking for this key and very valuable thing, the Lord then provides all those other things due to Solomon's request. Also within this section, we see Solomon, but really his first test, or his first, putting this wisdom and this understanding in place that God gave him when the story of the two women came. Both of them had children at the same time, and they were living in this the same house, and one of the children dies, and the other one takes that child as her own, and all these things, and you can read it. It's in chapter 3, but here we see Solomon expressing this wisdom and understanding that God gave him. And then in chapter 4, it talks about all the officials that were under Solomon, as well as the prosperity of the nation of Israel under his rule and reign. And then Psalm 72, and usually when there's a psalm tied to these stories, the psalm kind of reveals the teaching of those stories. But in this psalm, it's a psalm of Solomon. He is praying and asking for God's justice, for his righteousness to be shown amongst his people, to be shown amongst the world. And as Solomon is praying that, he's just asking and praying that God would be magnified and glorified through that. I wonder if this psalm was composed right around the time that Solomon was worshiping the Lord before the dream, or maybe even after the dream, just somewhere there in 1 Kings chapter 3. It's just cool to see how it correlates with this story. I love you. Oh, thank you. When I was thinking about this story and the psalm, and then even what we talk about at the beginning of what is it that we value most, I can't help but think of Proverbs chapter 10, verse 11, which talks about this idea that there are many valuable, precious things on the earth, but even some of the most valuable and precious things we have on earth, they don't anywhere compare to the value that is wisdom and understanding that comes from God. And the cool thing about this wisdom and understanding that is more valuable than the most valuable thing in the universe in terms of materialism, God gives freely, and we know that according to God's word, we see it in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 through 11, and then we see it again in James chapter 1, verse 5 through 8, that God, he is ready to give this wisdom, this understanding that is more valuable than the most precious material in the universe. We just have to ask, and we have to ask in faith, believing that God will give it to us. And I think God's generosity with that he's willing to give us the best thing if we simply ask, is reflective of the gospel. We have been given the greatest thing in Jesus Christ, and it has come from God himself. And I think that's just so beautiful that the God of the universe, he is wanting and ready to give us the best thing. We just have to ask. We just have to receive that thing that he's giving to us. So yes, wisdom and understanding from God are way more valuable than antimatter that costs approximately $62.5 to $100 trillion per gram. Okay, what are you guys doing? Yes.
I turned all the lights on.
You turned all the lights on?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to keep them off? Save electricity?